We are back in the studio, and it's really hot right now. Very hot. It's very hot in the country right now.
Country.
We thought we were talking about election results and so on, and recounts, and now suddenly it's all about racist comments online and identity and so many issues that impact us, and perhaps were sort of swept under the carpet because of the fact that people were uncomfortable discussing, or perhaps discussing behind closed doors. But now it's just burst out in the open, which is a good thing because it allows us to push the boundaries and perhaps come up with solutions which are so necessary as a country for us to move forward. I think it's important that we discuss these things raucous and carry in the open, even though it may be uncomfortable for many people.
Well, and that is how you get the topic going, and that is how you start finding solutions to the problems that these topics bring. Because if everything is said behind closed doors and done in a kind of hush-hush way, then how can the issue be addressed?
Not only that, if you are discussing it within a circle, as I was saying before, a circle of influence, it sort of compounds or validates what you are thinking by hearing other people around you agree with you.
That's how these ideas grow and develop into movements.
Yeah.
It's the same way you can do it with positive things, it's the same way it happens with negative things.
Yeah.
All it takes is somebody who thinks just like you and, to gas you up, as they say. And you get enough gas and you're going down the road running.
And we're seeing it, popping up. Well, we spoke about the case that we spoke about, but there were so many other cases, and you're seeing companies distancing themselves immediately from it. But you also have to look at, as I was saying, these circles that even the companies in which these organizations find themselves need to take a step back and say, okay, what are we doing to educate our employees to create a culture of inclusion and understanding and cross-cultural understanding and so on.
And we also have to ask if the people who are in charge of these companies, if they even understand what's wrong.
Yeah, well, they might, but it may not be a priority to grow
and that's also
an
part of understanding what is wrong.
Correct.
Is understanding that it needs to be a priority.
Yes. But we're going to be interviewing a number of young people today. And during the break, we were chatting because a number of young people say that they don't see race, they don't see gender, they don't like labels. It's very interesting. It would be very interesting to hear the views of the youth, of the young people on that. I don't know what you guys think before we join them.
No, I agree. I think we should. I think we should engage as many people as we can to discuss it.
But what do you guys think? Do you think young people are the ones who will drive the change because they don't necessarily see race, or do you think it's drilled down?
Like you said, it's learned behavior.
Yeah.
So we have to change the society as a whole and the way the society thinks. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Because
so you
it's a
think
societal
that
problem.
It's permeated all the way down to
I think young people, there are a number of young people who think differently from the generation before them, and I believe that young people would indeed be the ones to start making that change and shifting the narrative that, from the elder generation that would have had a certain mentality.
Yeah, and actually, remember, we had about 3 young people earlier with the Black Lives Matter who stepped out and called their elders, held their elders to account on social media. Social media is a game changer. Social media is a game changer, guys. Let's see if we have on the line our guests, Shalini Bahadur, social justice activist, and Johannah-Rae Reyes, activist, Caribbean educator and researcher. Good morning, ladies. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good to have you guys on the line, and there you are. Wonderful to have you. I don't know if you were hearing what we were saying just now. If you guys think that the young people are the ones, maybe I could start with Shalini on this one. Do you think the young people are the ones who can drive this change, or has that change in mindset with regard to race, particularly? Does it exist among the young people? What is your assessment of that? So, Shalini. Hello? Hello? I don't think she's hearing me. Shalini? Okay, guys.
The joys of technology, that's the age we are in.
Can I say it drives me crazy? Can I say that?
We rely on technology so much, but it's not always so reliable, so we do have to hold strain a little bit sometimes.
But what makes me feel good is that I see that yesterday Sanjay Gupta was chatting, and it's like, oh, we're not hearing him. Everyone is grappling with this around the world. Hello, good morning. Shalini, Johanna, are you guys there? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Okay.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Johannah.
To you all in studio, and good morning to your viewers.
Good morning.
All right, so Johannah, as we are hearing you, Shalini, are you hearing me? Hello, good morning. All right, so we're not hearing Shalini. So I'll start with Johannah. Johannah, you're into research. You're a Caribbean educator and researcher. We were discussing in the break, that these are racism is something that is perhaps taught, learned, and whether or not the young generation, the youth, who some of them are saying we don't see race, are they the ones to drive this change, or are we going down a slippery slope?
I think definitely the youths have shown that they are, not accepting racism. They're not accepting racist discourse and racist policy. And it's just basically for us to, get into action mode. On the political level in terms of grassroots politics, and then the political level in terms of partisan politics. We've already kind of started that ball rolling. So I'm really, I have a lot of faith, in our generation, and I feel, really motivated about, what is possible for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Racism is something that has been rampant in Trinidad and Tobago for a very long time. And a lot of us don't have, the privilege to, hold on to any illusion that it isn't, and it hasn't been here. And to me, the comments on social media, the comments and the ad campaigns, during the past election are just symptoms, of a deeper issue that has been allowed to fester.
Yeah.
So definitely there's a lot of, combating that.
But how do we combat that, and how do we drive the change? Years and years of deep-seated views and closely held opinions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the product of the society self, which is the self that, we grew up in, that, where we hear, racist things from our grandparents, from our parents, from our aunties and uncles. Then there's, the experiences that we have in school, primary school, when you go to school and one child is, punished or, reprimanded because of their hair. Is not, it's not, proper for school.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're different. And then you say, okay, well, my hair is proper for school. Then that's kind of, and then you're growing up, with a number of those experiences. And then from school into the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
But then there's this self where we basically learn, we expand our knowledge base, we read, and engage with, engage in discussion with other people about the trauma that they experienced, and we really listen. That's when we get to the point where we have a renewed self, And I think that's basically where we have to go. It's two things. It's one, listening to people and their experiences and having those very difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And then there's also removing the racist policies and the racist legislation that allow us, to kind of continue and perpetuate, these stereotypes.
Yeah.
When we think about, the policing, of black hair, in schools and in the workplace, and then when we think about, the use of force policy that allowed, the TTPS to tear gas citizens who were protesting just the other day, we get, and we really have the real conversations about those things. That's when, we can start to move forward and make the changes that are necessary.
Yeah.
So it's really to see the problem and then to, chart, list, the ways that, we can move forward together. And then I also commend, the corporate society in terms of their response to the racist comments that were made. The supermarkets association, they came out and they, completely shut it down one time, and removed, all the products from the stores, of, persons, companies that would have made statements. I saw the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force also, put out a statement. My alma mater, Bishop Anstey High School East, they put out a statement when they found that one of their staff members, were seen to have been making racist comments on social media. And I think these are the key things that need to happen.
Yeah.
In schools, we need to know that it's not okay to be racist. In the workplace, it's not okay to be racist. And then, we kind of
and I think that's a shift that we've seen. Rokas and Carrie are both here, and they're going to weigh in a bit, but I think that's a shift that we're seeing now, that swift justice, that immediate justice that happens that says, no, this is not okay, as opposed to it just being ventilated in social media and then dying after 7 days. Carrie, Rokas.
Johannah-Rae, I want to know, do you think that these people think when they're posting these things that they think that they're racist and being racist right now? Actively?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of that question.
I was just wondering if you think
can you
that
just repeat it?
when they're posting it, you're saying that the swift justice and all that stuff, but I am feeling strongly that education is a big part of it, and a lot of people don't even know that what they're doing is wrong in the first place.
Yes, exactly. Well, to some extent, yes. I think a lot of it has to do with just habit. It's just things that they're hearing in the environment from since childhood. Nobody has called them out. Nobody has, responded to them in a way that says, "Hey, that's not okay. It's not okay to say that." And do those things. And here's why. And so there hasn't been a lot of that engagement, I believe, in some spaces, in some communities. And I believe that kind of engagement is, necessary. So in terms of education, definitely, I think that, that's a direction that, the education system, can take in terms of engendering, kind of an anti-racist discourse, anti-racist, education, and then obviously also remove any policies that kind of, engender that kind of behavior and discourse. So there's, I guess our thoughts, words, and actions, right. And then there are the policies and guidelines that, guide us. So definitely.
Hi, Johannah-Rae. Good morning. I just wanted to weigh in a little bit. Now,
Hi, morning.
Carrie here. So, by the way, is Shalini there?
Is Shalini?
Is she leading?
Okay.
All right, we can't hear Shalini at all. So I'm going to continue with you, Johannah-Rae. So I do believe and I agree with, education and anti-racist education and stuff. But my question is, racism is learned behavior and you can unlearn things as well, right? But the thing is, when you come to adults and grown folks, when does the buck stop? When do you stop saying, well, okay, they don't know better. They are grown folks. They are grown adults. They should know better, having lived on the earth for over 18 years, or whatever the case may be. In some spaces, of course, they would think it is okay because of the circles they are in, but they are not sheltered from the entire world, where they don't have any inkling whatsoever that this is wrong behavior. So what do you say to that?
Well, I think yes. And that's where, to me, the workplace is a good space where we could be having those conversations, where we could be, holding people accountable for their actions, and really trying to, show by action that, this is something that is, this kind of behavior is not, tolerable. And it doesn't necessarily engender the kind of environment that, people want to exist in. So I think now that we're having such harsh repercussions for people who, I guess, spew racist hatred on social media or just in public life in general, we should be seeing some kind of change with regards to that. So that's why I'm really, I have a lot of hope for these, businesses and in corporate Trinidad, since I have seen, the responses that I have seen from private sector as well as the public sector.
All right.
So I think that's really a step in the right direction.
Okay, Johannah-Rae, Reyes, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a pity that the audio on Shalini's side went down, but we can probably join her back in as the coming days. We definitely have to continue this conversation. That was Johannah-Rae Reyes, activist, Caribbean educator, and researcher joining us there. We're going to take in a few messages, come back with even more conversation after this.